All right. Also in that same timeline, 1947, the original establishment of MJ-12, and the MJ-12 documents, which I've seen, John. Do you view those as legitimate?
The information is legitimate, not necessarily the documents. President Truman certainly warned MJ-12 on September 24th, 1947. There's enough evidence in government documents that he did have a meeting with certain people and he informed his body, which of course has been in charge of it.
What was the job of MJ-12? It had a charter, right? What was it supposed to do?
The charter of MJ-12 was basically to research the craft, determine what it was made of, whether it was a threat to this country, and determine what the ground is at all, the public about what was going on.
So they kind of were the overseers of all this.
Yeah, they were, and they are the original 12 that were appointed. Mike Truman, the last one that died, I think it was 1983, and then the Secretary of Army Force of Ray, he was last member. As to who is involved or a member of MJ-12 today, we can only speculate that. I really don't know, but...
Well, since that time, there must have been many members. In other words, people die, people retire, people get sick, all kinds of things. So if it's... Are you saying it's still in place today?
Yes, MJ-12 certainly was in place. And they have, they would have had to replace the original 12. I don't think it would be more than 30 across the world.
People talk, John, about this current administration, the Clinton administration, and how open they've been with the nuclear, the tests that were done, the awful things that were done, and they have hopes that they will also be open about UFOs and maybe tell us what's going on. What do you think?
Yeah. When I first got into what they call it ufology, I think it's a tough name, but when I first got into it, I realized the overwhelming impact of what was going on in the cover-up that they had played it for so many years. I got up on my soapbox and did lectures and said, hey, you gotta listen to me, there's something going on here that we should all be aware of, and that was like 1985. And now in September 1994, I believe the government is correct to cover it up. As short as 3 or 4 years ago, I still thought they were planning to gradually release information so that the public would, not panic, but accept this. And now I don't think they ever had any intention of doing that. And I don't think they have today. About everything sound, I kind of go along with it. I believe that the public does not have a need to know. They certainly don't have a right to know. There's so many aspects to this thing that really disrupt public life as we know it. But I don't think they had any intention of doing it. The only reason that they would maybe be forced to do it is if there was a crash or a landing, but it's absolutely, positively not to deny. And they have facilities in place to prevent things like that ever happening. There have been saucers that have crashed very, very early, and it's been completely covered up. They have teams that go out, and it's their business to be sure that the public never finds out. This includes recloading, relocating personnel, or even terminating personnel that have seen as unauthorized, either accidental or on purpose. They go to that extent.
Well, I do know this. There have been crashes here near us, John, to the west of you, and you know what I'm near.
Yeah.
And there have been crashes out here, and it's true, the public would never know. They get these areas quickly cordoned off, and you don't get anywhere near it. And, it's wreckage, and it could be anything. And so who knows? If a saucer did come down, they could get control of it very quickly, just like that, couldn't they?
Exactly. I heard one that landed, that landed just maybe a few miles outside of downtown Albuquerque. And these teams are located all over the United States. They're in underground facilities. They have helicopters. They have people who are technicians and heavy equipment operators who have passes and authority to go to any civilian or military base and drive right off with this heavy equipment. And their job is to go and keep this from being used. And one of the first things they do is they have these portable walls that are put in place. And then they secure the area. If it's like near a freeway, what they can do is have a heavy truck purposely have a wreck right there to block the freeway several miles from the crash or the landing. They can also start fires. They do really interesting things. Anyway, they erected these portable walls around this thing, and everybody's been around trying to figure out what to do. I think it was there for about 5 hours, and then all of a sudden it just left.
Huh.
And nobody got out, there was no communication, and it just left.
All right. We're very efficient in this country at doing this kind of thing, and I don't doubt that for a second. I've seen it myself. But, John, they come down all over the world, or at least you would think they come down all over the world. So what about other countries less prepared to make it all a big secret?
We go in and with money, we say, we need to have this craft, and here's so many millions of dollars. Be sure that nobody ever finds out about it. We have Bolivia, one in Argentina, one in South Africa, just a very few years ago. All over the world, except for Russia, we have control over those, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know what happened in Russia, if there was a crisis there, or if there was recovery there. So,
in 1948, the Aztec recovery, possible EBE-1, what does all that mean, the Mantell incident?
Aztec recovery was a sponsor crash in Aztec, Mexico, and they recovered a few bodies from that one. It's not sure where they got their first 5 aliens, but they were named extraterrestrial biological entities by Dr. Douglas Braun, who was one of the first members of MK-12. At some point in that, 48-49, they recovered the first 5. The Mantell incident is separate from that. That was one crash piloted by Thomas Mantell over Kentucky, and he got up to about 30,000 feet. Clear communication. He said, "I have it in sight. It's enormous. The thing is tremendous size." And then the next thing they knew, this PT-1 crashed and hit. It was completely disintegrated. In our stories, the Mantell's body was not in the crash, but I'm sure that was the Mantell incident, and that occurred in the same year.
How many bodies totally do you think they recovered?
From between 50 to 100, representing at least 5 different civilizations. They're all on cryogenic storage. One of the interesting things here is in 1972, the only civilian that I know that ever got to see the bodies was Jackie Gleason, and he was a very big supporter of Nixon. So they were out playing golf down there in Miami in 1972, and Jackie Gleason, as not many people know, was one of the, he had a tremendous interest in flying saucers, and he had one of the biggest collections of books and memorabilia, pictures, and stuff like that.
No, I didn't know that.
In upstate New York, his house was built in the shape of a saucer called a mothership. Anyway, in conversation with Nixon, he said, we're getting a chance to get to see the bodies, and Nixon said, yeah, sure. And when they finished their golf game, they went over and got a presidential helicopter, and they went to Homestead Air Force Base, which was right near where they were playing, and golf, and he was showing the bodies. You really know this story.
All right, John, hold it right there. We're at the bottom of the hour, and we'll be right back. My guest is John Lear. Once again, my guest, John Lear, who has flown in jet aircraft for many, many thousands of hours. and pressed a little bit, now recalls one incident where he saw something or another. Anyway, John, when was it? What did you see?
Well, it was like 1966 or so, and I was sending in a Learjet from on a flight from Wichita to Los Angeles, and descending speed like 30,000 feet, and I was headed westbound, and from my left to my right, I saw what I thought at the time was a NASA lifting body that X-24, or one of those type things. Remember the one that the $6 million man crashed?
I do, yes.
And that's what it looked like. And it went by, and I mentioned it to the co-pilot when I landed. I distinctly remember calling Hank Beard, who was chief test pilot of Learjet, and I said, "Man, you'll never guess what I spotted." He said, "What?" I said, "A lifting body passed." And only after, 25 or 30 years do I look back and say how ridiculous that was, because there's no stretch of the imagination with a lifting body being in the main approach corridor for the Los Angeles International Airport.
Heavens no.
So I don't know what I saw, but in all my thousands of hours, I guess that's the only strange thing I ever saw.
That's it, huh? All right. There's so much history to go through here, John. I guess let's jump up to a violent encounter, supposedly, between UFO humanoids and the U.S. military at Lumberton, Ohio.
Yeah, there was two. There was one actually in Cambodia on the campus in Sydney, Ohio. The one in Sydney, Ohio was an encounter between the occupants of an alien craft and the U.S. military detachment, and there was 11 American casualties and an unknown number of aliens. And one of the researchers met a guy who worked at the off cemetery at Light Pass who claims to have seen bodies on litters arriving at the base during that time frame.
As I go through the history, it is interesting in one respect. All of these occurrences, all of these witnesses, all of these bodies, how can it, well, of course it isn't really kept secret, because here we are talking about it, but still, the official cloak of secrecy remains. How can that be?
It's great. They can keep it secret if they want to.
Well, that's really true, and if anything, the revelations about the nuclear testing, I think, prove that. I can't imagine how our government could have kept secret the fact that they were feeding radiation to children. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they did. All right. You mentioned Cambodia, a firefight between U.S. military and small gray humanoids.
Yeah, that was in April of 1972. And what happened is members of the U.S. Army Special Operations Group were involved in a firefight with the occupants of an identified alien craft. There were several alien casualties and a single human death. Several were burned by an unknown weapon. And what happened was that the two amniotic groups of aliens who were sorting human body parts into large bins, sealing them. A firefight ensued and several aliens were killed and through headshots because the suits they were wearing were essentially bulletproof. And as the soldiers pulled back, several aliens quickly packed what they could, got in his craft, and it took off. The unit was interrogated originally by military personnel and then by civilians who were identified as representatives of the magic. And they are part of the majestic group to go out and help cover these things up.
All right, looks like we're going to jump into the tough stuff early. Why, John, would they be packing up body parts?
Well, you got me. For every answer I've ever gotten in all this research, I get 10 more questions posed. So if you're looking for answers.
Well, I think this, though, goes to a pretty awful area. I mean, you have not ruled out the possibility, have you, that we are, for them, food?
No, but it's kind of far out. I did make that statement once in an interview when I read it ever since because it sounds outrageous. I'm not sure.
Listen, let me stop you, John. It really did sound outrageous then, but you know something? I've been interviewing a lot of ufologists, scientists, scholars, people who have said things that when they say them, John, they suddenly harken back to some of the early interviews that I did with you, and I'll say to myself sometimes out loud, I'll be damned. You know, I remember John said that, and a lot of people guffawed. And here we are. I mean, a lot of that stuff that you told me, John, has been coming back recently. And a lot of investigators, John, are beginning to go down some of the same roads you did. Back then, you were one of the only ones saying, look, these guys are not necessarily warm, fuzzy, nice people who wish us well. And you were almost alone then. But now, let me tell you, John, more people than not are beginning to join you in that in that view. At any rate, the Dulcie incident.
You know, the Dulcie incident I first heard about in 1986 or 1987 when I was invited to be part of the group of researchers who met a person in Colorado traded information. And I was handed a letter by one of the guys who got this letter from a person who lived in Las Vegas who wanted to research this, and it talked about this underground base and found it so far out. But I met with this person, and she had known one of the officers who had worked inside this base and originally told about the massacre at Dulcie. I further heard a story by a guy named Paul Bennett, who lived in Albuquerque, involved in this, and he told me about it also. The story went that in 1959 we had 44 scientists who were being instructed by the aliens in some subject, I don't know what it was, but they were being instructed at Dulcie, and for some reason it was agreed that our security force, our Delta Force, would not carry conventional weapons at the time it was clouded around this area. For some reason, one of the outfits walked in with a conventional sidearm, and the alien killed him outright. Now, how that was done, I don't know. But on the video, on the monitor, his compatriots, the Delta Force, saw that he was killed, and they went down on that to exact revenge, and it ended up that all 44 planners and about 6 inches of the Delta Force was killed. It was just a complete massacre. So I just put this in the files and there was the story. And it didn't come up again until Bob Lazar, who worked at the S4, and we'll get to that later, read a report that documented this massacre. Now, the only thing different about the report that you read was that in the report you read, the massacre occurred somewhere around areas of 200 miles.
Is there any indication of how they were killed, Jim?
No, just Henry. The report says they died of Henry.
Again, that's a lot of relatives who are going to be requiring explanations and that sort of thing. How was it all explained?
Well, now remember, this is just, speculation how they handle it. We realize now that most of the people that get in this program do not have relatives for one reason or another, either they're orphans or their family has passed away or whatever. And it's essential that this kind of thing happen. It kind of go this way because they don't want to have to take time to explain away the death of a relative.
So the people who do these things are screened specially for this kind of work, which includes
non-infections, but they also have other methods. They go to the family and say, look, we're going to a annual or monthly stipend, but this is, national security, and it's to dominate country.
And so here, so sign this and it'll be done. Yeah, I understand. Then I think it was an incident that had a lot of influence on me, didn't it? Bentwaters in 1980.
Yeah, Bentwaters occurred during 3 days in December. We have a nice Air Force base about 30 miles northeast of London called Bentwaters. At that time, it was an A-10 base on board on Gango. And very strange things happened during those 3 culminating with the, it wasn't a landing, it was an appearance of a very weird aircraft witnessed by General Gordon Williams, who was the base commander, Major Conrad, Chuck Hawley, Larry Warren, and a few others. But at any rate, the incident did occur. There was a story, as far as I'm concerned, many pilots have heard it. In 1985, I ran into the hunter in Las Vegas, an Air Force friend that I knew in Laos. And he was transferring from the regular Air Force to the daughter that came over to the house. We started talking about stuff, and then she asked where he's been living, and he said about it. And I said, oh, that's supposed to be where that promised land in 1980. I said, okay, I'm not supposed to get in it, but I didn't see it, because I was supplying the orders, but I know that I can see it. And he's like, your name? I said, wait a minute. You're telling me that this radio that you aren't flying saucers in this time? And I don't know if you're interested in stuff. My interest is my plane, this 071.
I understand. What about your dad, John? I know your dad had a great abiding interest in all of this. Didn't any of that rub off on you, or was it self-ignited?
No, because there was no proof. He was perfectly mistaken, and now that I look back, it's because of the friends where he was friends with General Vandenberg, who was the head of CIA and a regional member of MC-12. He was very, very close friends with Jim Doolittle, who was out behind all this sailing stuff. But, you know, he never let off the name, and it's just not a part of my interest. Sure, you know, everybody thinks it's flying saucers, but, you know, if you see one or have hard evidence, it's not a part of your life. But in 1985, it became a part, and Blake said, yeah, this is true, what's going on? And that's what involuntarily got my love watching.
Okay, so that was then really the beginning of your interest?
Right.
All right. In 1983, your written second attempt at public disclosure, Linda Howe, MJ-12, and something about HBO. What is all that?
This is when Linda Howe was contacted by MJ-12 in order to do a documentary, and they said that they would make available to her many, many thousands of feet of saucers and whatnot, and they wanted her to write a documentary that would be presented on HBO. She contacted HBO, and HBO said, we'll do it, but before we air it, we want a film interview with the president, the chief of staff, and the National Security Council saying that this is true. And MJ-12 essentially led her on a round robin, so to speak, of bases, facilities, and all kinds of things for about 8 months. At the end of which, it was terminated. You never heard anything more.
Well, that must have been very frustrating. I'm going to have to ask you about that.
Yes, there was no more contact, and only a few years later did we learn that somebody who was involved in that, and they said, I'm sorry it turned out the way it did, but we had an election. There was no further explanation. So the story she told me of where they took her, who she was absolutely fascinating. And of course, Linda Howe is very articulate, very helpful, and she's so brilliant herself. So, you know, we could focus on some story.
By the way, John, again, on the subject of Linda Howe, I talked to her earlier today, and she said she's going to be on the way to New Mexico. She's had enough. There's too much going on down there, so she's going to be on her way to New Mexico and will be reporting to us from New Mexico.
Well, she was the leading authority on relations. She did that documentary where you put it together in 1980.
Right, I believe so.
And then her and I, after the press film meeting, drove down to drove down to Roswell. And oddly enough, here we are driving out in the middle of the desert, just about 15 miles south of where the boat drive. Well, we're up in the road, it's a dirt road, about 20 miles from nowhere. And I'm driving on this truck and spot they pour on. I thought, so here I am with the world's leading authority on counterparts. See if they've got to get out there, and there was none of the classic cookie cutter incisions. But you start looking around, and saw 3 others. And then you saw 2 others that stood up on the bed of the truck, and I think we counted 30 more cows.
Wow.
And so we went to found the nearest ranch, and asked the guy if he knew about the cows. The guy said they died of disease. Well, then the hound checked in with the veterinarian, whatever the disease was, I don't remember what it is now. But the veterinarian said, no way. He said, if that had been that disease, that place would have been poured off in 100 times. It's a very odd
It is, and I've heard Linda Howe tell exactly the same story. So I guess that's the way it happened.
That was her view. That was still like an issue.
All right. She's still trying to get it out of the public today, and that's well over a decade. Then the Eisenhower Brady IV leaked to Hollywood producer and friend of Bill Moore.
Yeah, that was James Chandra, and one day he received in the mail this film, which was on the ballot, which he had the ballot, and it was the Eisenhower briefing, and he got to know it, and it was supposed to be that Eisenhower got when he became president on the alien situation. Remember they told about the Roswell crash, and told what they had told the original members of the 12, and they planned to do it. Very anecdotal now, because they the information was definitely not necessarily the document itself.
Then you say 1985, my interest begins. Actually, it began a little earlier than that. What made you write that, John? Why 1985?
That's when Fred Wilson came to Las Vegas
and told me the story about Bill Moore. Yeah, okay, I see. Then 1986, and I remember this one very well. JAL 747 Captain is followed by UFO 3 times as big as an aircraft carrier, and I remember that.
It was an enormous craft. He had it followed him for an hour. He was on his way from Templeton Ranch in Anchorage, moved on in Anchorage in the northern command, and about an hour out of Anchorage, and 3,000 feet at night, this thing appears on a aircraft, and it was not a passenger flight, it was a cargo, so there's only 2 guys in the cockpit, but they all thought radar had it, trying to be sure it wasn't some gigantic deflection of some sort. They went down to 29,000 feet to see if it was following, and it did. And then after about an hour and 6 left, they landed, gave the wind report, and other than it being a comical news story, ignored by the press, specifically by the Institute of Space Technology, who's a premier aviation magazine, doesn't give us one word, not even a second.
Well, for all your flying, John, and the one incident you had that may have been something like that, you must talk to all kinds of other captains, lots of friends in the industry. Do they talk about this film?
Not much, honestly, Congressman Etiquette brings this up. Unless I've been with the crew for a long time, and unless the crew is supposed to get things. But you find out that maybe a third of the pilots will be sent.
All right, we're at the bottom of the hour. This is where we pause. We've been doing sort of a historical look at UFOs, how John became involved, and we're just about up to modern. This is CBC. All right, back now to John Lear. John?
Yeah.
All right, we're getting up toward the modern day here, but first, let us look at 1987. And particularly the Gulf Breeze sightings, because that's still going on, John. It's still going on. We're getting photographs. There have been recent photographs, one which is a very picture. A lot of people are following up on that right now. And the same gentleman at Gulf Breeze continually seeing these craft. What is your assessment of what happened with Gulf Breeze?
Well, I first heard about it in 1987 when the Channel 4, I believe, was down there, and put out the documentary, and it had Ed Walters film that he took out the back door of this craft hovering behind the tree line there, just over the tree line. And it was tremendously interesting, as there was no doubt in my mind that that from the videotape that this thing occurred, but there were so many people jumped on it as a hoax, and they just did back flips to try and prove it was a hoax. But in my opinion, it was not a true thing. Ed Walters took out a tremendous amount of flack over the years for showing this film and for saying the things he did, but I believe it's true.
Well, all right, everybody. I'm Art Bell. My guest is John Lear. His son Bill Lear, who invented the 8-track tape deck, that invented the Learjet, of course. John's father had an abiding interest in UFOs. John got one himself, but not because of his father's interest in them. He did it on his own because of events that we've just documented over the last couple of hours. Now, back to John Lear. John?
Yes, sir.
All right. Neil Armstrong, on the occasion of the anniversary of the Apollo mission to the moon, was at the White House about 3 weeks ago now, I guess 4 weeks ago, something like that. Anyway, Neil Armstrong rarely does public appearances, rarely has anything to say, but when he does, wow. What he said, and I took this quote directly from the NBC Evening News, was as follows, quote, and he said this at the White House, quote, there are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers. There are places to go beyond belief, end quote. Neil Armstrong. What do you think he meant, John?
That sounds like a pretty credible statement. Both Neil and Buzz Aldrin and most of the astronauts, all of them have seen something. They're all incredible. And they've been challenged by NASA. And over the years, kind of weird that they'd like to get it out, but they can't be as blatant. So yes, I saw this, yes, I saw that. So I think that's basically what he's saying. And I've heard some of the astronauts come out very vociferously and say, listen to me carefully. There are no UFOs. You understand what I'm saying? No UFOs. And what they're saying is, no, there's no unidentified flying objects. They're all identified.
The astronauts, particularly the ones that went to the moon, the early astronauts, have all had big trouble time. Psychological troubles, a lot of divorces, a lot of drinking, a lot of trouble, period. And one source of that trouble, one might speculate, is that they have knowledge that they can't talk about that's eating away at them. Could that be so?
Definitely. And that's one of the ways in which they keep these secrets is it's called pain judgment hypnosis, where when they tell you this stuff, they think you're weak, and it involves pain, it involves drugs, it involves hypnosis, so that it doesn't bother you that much, but it doesn't always work on everybody. They know they have this knowledge, and it's hard to know something with this, with the ramifications of the fact.
Cannot be able to tell them. Yeah, we need you alive, I suppose. John, just before we go to the phones, you have said, and this really is very different than a lot of ufologists today, that you've come to the conclusion that while you were digging in earlier years so that the world might know, you now don't think we ought to know, or that we have a right to know, or that it would be good for us to know, or how do you explain that and why?
Well, it has to do with religion, that no, people should not know. This is something that is irritating as it might be. It's none of their business. There's nothing they can do to influence or modify it in any way. Instead, they just go on with their lives and pay their taxes, find something they enjoy, boating, sailing, growing lawn, and something like that, and get on with their life. There's no reason to know this. But they do the true ramifications of this, it would bother them. It eventually result in the breakdown of society.
The breakdown of society. How much do you know, John, without telling me what you know, how much do you still know that you haven't told me?
Not very much. I told you, likes this stuff. You know, stuff I'm not talking about is religious stuff. And if you think a while, you can figure out what it's all about.
But maybe not all.
No, not all. There's a lot of offensive, very offensive stuff regarding it.
All right. Let us take some calls, John, and I want to remind everybody the toll-free line is east of the Rockies only at 1-800-618-8255. And let us venture from hi there on our east of the Rockies line. You're on here with John Lear. Hello there. No, you're not. On the first-time caller line, you're on there with John Lear. Good morning.
So, John, this is
San Diego, yes, sir.
Question, sounds like if the U.S. has some of the technology, then it really wouldn't be too big of a problem being confronted with other nations like Russia with their military. Do you think this type of technology can be implemented against people of war or anything like that?
All right. What about it, John?
Well, it certainly can. This may be the result of the breakdown of maybe we told them what we got and which direction we wanted to go in. I don't know that for a fact, but it's possible that happened. Our technology base is about where everyone's thinking. When you look at the space shuttle and all the satellites and the neat stuff we got going, our technology base is 30 years ahead of that.
30 years.
Just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, about 25 years ago, we got the paper about cautious block technology.
Yes.
What that was they put a rock in an analytic tube and gave it a pulse, like hello. And the rock absorbed the vibration. So it measured the vibration about a half a second later, measuring the vibration, they could pull out the word hello. Well, 25 or 30 years
Alpha.
and fully off measuring the vibration that has been given into the crystal structure like slabs or windows or anything like that. It pull out a conversation that was held 7 days.
Wow. Wow. That's some technology. East of the Rockies line, you're on the air with John Lear. Good morning.
Well,
Hi, where are you, sir? Leavenworth, all right?
Hello?
You're on the air. Go ahead.
I was going to talk about Project Bluebird.
All right.
I was wanting to find out whether it's still being researched or if you've even heard of it.
Well, of course, we've heard of it. John, any comments on Blue Book? It is no more, or is it now going on below the surface?
It was established in 1948 or 49, and then it was brought to a halt in 1959 by the Condon Committee. And what they said is based on all their research that object did not represent a threat to national security. Now, they didn't go as far as saying that they didn't exist. What they said was they're not a threat. But the actual project is called RED. The research has been exciting, but yes, that's still going on. But it does project.
That's an interesting conclusion, to not rule out their existence, but state they have no, they're not a threat to national security doesn't make sense to me. If they exist, they certainly would be a potential threat.
Yes. Well, they got away with it.
Now, on the toll-free line, you're on the air with John Lear. Good morning. Where are you calling from, please?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri, all right?
Okay, what I'm going to say here has to do with the religion aspect, if that's okay with Mr. Lear.
Yes.
Okay, here's my opinion. This is just my opinion now, so this might not mean anything to you at all. But I am a Christian, and what I have gained from this is that, this is just my opinion, but that UFOs have actually been built under the watchful eye of the Illuminati. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, I've heard that before.
What do you think about that?
Choose your words carefully.
Huh?
It's possible.
For the reason to explain, you believe in the rapture? No, I don't mean to make this into a religious show.
Yeah, please don't.
Okay.
Please don't. In other words, John believes there is a connection between religion and UFOs.
Can you please expound on
that
that?
you would not find agreeable and which you would rather not expound on, I think. John?
No, it's all the same to you. I do not want to expound on my experience.
All right, it's kind of like when you say this, I guess we haven't covered it, John, but when you say this, it's like putting a box on the table that says, do not open this box, and then just leaving it there, and everybody who comes past will inevitably open the box. And so they want to open the box. I understand that, but
Let's get it!
perhaps some boxes are best left unopened. On the wild card line, or on the air with John Lear. Good morning.
I'm calling from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area.
Yes, sir.
I can prove right now that what Mr. Lear is saying is the opposite of the truth. Because the U.S. government is not covering up information about the existence of extraterrestrial life. Government intelligence agencies have been spreading the rumor that aliens are among us to UFO researchers, and this has been documented by Jacques Vallée in his book Revelations. For example, in 1983, the proven disinformation agent Richard Doty at Kirtland Air Force Base invited Linda Howe to that Air Force Base and showed her these alleged secret documents claiming aliens among us. And in 1985, Jacques Vallée and J. Allen Hynek were invited to Norton Air Force Base by some generals there and told that aliens are among us. And I think it's all a lie, and I have a reason for it.
Well, all right, give that to us. You said you had proof, sir, so go ahead and lay it out.
The proof is what I just told you, and you just get Jacques Vallée's book Revelations. That proves that the government isn't hiding it. It's pushing it on UFO researchers, and the reason for this reverse psychology disinformation campaign was stated by Stanton Friedman when he said that a belief in alien life would cause people to lose their faith in the value of nation states and lead to the acceptance of world government, which is exactly what the power elite and control government wants, since their multinational corporations have most gained from globalism.
All right, so there he is, John. He lays it out. It is something he's charging to lead us toward the one world government. That's what
Well, I certainly respect his opinion, and since I don't have any hardware, I'm certainly not going to be able to believe what I
John, at one time, can you tell the story about element 115?
My element 115 is the power source of the extraterrestrial craft. By WC 106. But there is an element on up the line that is 115, and by photon is 115. It becomes 160, which immediately decays. And what the result of the decay is antimatter. And antimatter is basically matter. It's 100% inversion of matter to energy, which is a very, very large explosion. And they control this explosion and create heat. And also out of this reaction, they pull on the gravity wave. Without going into details, they use supernova crossing hundred times faster.
At one time, and you tell as much of the story as you can, or you tell me to go fly a kite, but you had your hands on some 115, didn't you?
Yes, Bob was already had his hands on the 115. We did the experiment to prove exactly what he said it was. And I believe it was the evening of George Nammon. Neil knows the best evidence. We kept very close watch on this stuff. We had it 4 or 5 months. We became a little careless and we let it out. And that night they broke it off and took it.
So you no longer have it, but that's about as close as you come through hardware.
That's correct.
All right, on the toll-free line.